After waking up at an inn, Sikya learned that 2 years had passed since the Black Tower, and that a secret organization had stashed her here for her safety. The Innkeeper had little to tell her about her plight, but after talking to Hyde via the sending spell, Sikya learned of the race to stop the other towers from falling. That night, Sikya was attacked by an assassin who was only barely fought off with the help of the Innkeeper, who may be more than he first seemed. As you and the Innkeeper both stand/sit as you're slumped up against the wall here in the empty tavern room, the silence of the surrounding area just almost deafening in and of itself, to the point where you can almost hear each other's heartbeats. You listen and let your ears carry you outside to the sound of footsteps that are disappearing into the night, as whatever assailant it was that attacked you, being faced with two people, rather than the one that they had expected, has taken off. And the Innkeeper is slumped up against the wall, breathing heavily after having cast some magic that you didn't know he had in him. And he just kind of... Why would someone be trying to kill you?
I don't know. What? How did they know I was at your inn?
I'm not entirely sure. I need a drink. Would you like a drink?
Yes, or some tea or something, yes.
Okay. And he kind of very shakily stands up, kind of steadies himself on the wall, and takes a deep breath and kind of straightens his shirt out. And... Right, okay. And goes downstairs. As he's going, of course, he first goes and closes and latches the window. And then as he goes downstairs, he's kind of almost like checking around corners as he goes, being very cautious about every turn. But as you make your way down into the main tavern space with him, no other would-be assailants jump out of the shadows. He kind of, upon realizing that he feels fairly safe in the moment, rushes behind the bar and pulls out a little glass and a bottle of something dark and pours and takes a shot before pouring himself a second. And then, would you like one?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay, and he pours you, and it's this kind of like dark liquor that he slides across to you. He's like, maybe sip it first. And he takes a sip of his.
I pick it up carefully and try to like take a little tiny sip.
Yeah, it's very strong, but very sweet. But very strong.
It's good. It's good.
Kettle's in the kitchen if you want tea. I'm gonna need a minute. And he sits down and kind of continues sipping at his drink.
I guess I'll go into the kitchen, start up the kettle, kind of root around, find the tea leaves, all that kind of stuff.
Yep. Able to find tea accoutrement easily enough.
Take a few minutes to
start a pot.
Take some extra rags and wipe off like the blood on my shell and everything.
Yep. When you come back out, the Innkeeper has a piece of paper, about yay big, that he has rolled out in front of him. You see writing on it, and he's kind of looking at it and breathing heavily.
Did you want any tea? Are you all right?
No, thank you. He looks up at you and makes eye contact. I have an apology that I owe you.
Okay.
I was not as forthcoming earlier today as I could have been. There's reason for that, which I hope you'll give me a chance to explain, but I'm perhaps not as unknowledgeable as I made myself seem, though please don't take that as thinking I'm some sort of mastermind. I'm still very much caught in the middle of several things here.
All right. I kind of like sit next to him and pull up a bar stool. Kind of scooch down.
He kind of taps the paper in front of him. You see, when the folks from the Observant left you here, I said that they kind of dropped you off and left in a rush without many instructions, and that wasn't entirely truthful. However, you'll notice here on the instructions, very first thing is tell her as little as possible. And he points down, and indeed written in a list of things, you see the very first thing says, inform her of as little as possible.
Okay, so that
I was
step
following
one.
the instructions by not telling you that there were some.
Sure. Okay. But now that I know...
I feel like you need to. And he slides the paper, kind of turns it and pushes it towards you, points to the second item on a list of 4.
Pull
And
it
the
over.
second item reads, notify us if anything strange happens. And then the third item reads, notify us if she is aggressive. And the fourth one reads, burn this after reading. And he kind of points to the fourth one, chuckles a little bit, he's like, there's the irony of it's not lost on me that I followed instruction number 1 very well, but couldn't follow number 4. Curiosity was quite piqued by all of this.
Yes, I think so. Is this written in common?
It is, yep.
Okay. I'm just gonna take the paper, flip it over. Is there anything on the back?
Make an investigation check.
Investigation. That's a nat 20. Wow,
A natural
Sikya.
20.
Might be her first
Okay.
one. So
Okay.
that's 21.
Yeah, so with a 21, there's nothing written on the back, but you give it a good look over and kind of sniff at it and look at the edges of the paper and everything. And what you notice along one of the corners on the backside is almost not an engraving, but almost like a bleed through of ink. It's very spotty and irregular, but there's this little shape of almost what looks like a small chess piece in the corner. Just kind of like the outline, but it's very spotty and kind of broken up.
Huh. I kind of look at the chess piece. Have I seen this anywhere before?
Make a history check.
History. Couldn't last. 9.
A 9. No, I mean, you know what chess is, but you've not seen this used as like a mark of any sort in the past.
I'm gonna tear that bit of the piece off and kind of tuck it in my shell.
Mm-hmm.
And then hand him back the paper.
He takes the paper from you and actually reaches over and grabs a small candle and lights it and lets it burn before dropping it off to the side and letting the paper burn away.
So as for the other 2 instructions, I think an assassin breaking in here would be sort of odd.
It would. Yes. That's the other thing that they left me. And he goes and, like, reaches into his pocket and pulls out this small, kind of opaque white stone that's been cut and polished. But it's got, like, a milky color to it. And he just kind of looks at you and goes, one moment, please. And then kind of turns, like, 3/4 from you, like, not all the way back, but, like, sort of away, and just puts the stone up to his mouth. He's like, yes, I was told to speak into this if I had something to message, and, she's awake. She's not aggressive. She's very, very kind. But someone broke into the inn and tried to stab her in her sleep. Did stab her in her sleep. We were able to drive them off, but, I believe that counts as something unusual.
I kind of lean over and I go, Henry, are you talking to a rock?
I am, yes. They said that this was a sending stone and that they would be able to hear me. I don't know if I'm supposed to hear something back.
Can I, like, reach out for it?
Please. He hands it to you.
Can I, like, hold it up like a seashell?
Mm-hmm.
Do I hear anything?
You just hear a little bit of just kind of disturbance in the air as it's up against you, sort of like putting your hand over your ear, but nope, you don't hear anything.
Like, shake it a little bit.
It doesn't rattle.
Like, give it back to him.
Anything.
I don't know if Siki's ever seen any of those, so...
I don't know if it worked, honestly. I didn't hear anything back, but that's what they said to do.
Okay. Alright. Have I been aggressive since I woke up?
No,
I
no,
don't think
no, please, no. As it was explained to me, they weren't 100% certain who you were when they found all of you. And
Okay.
that I believe the aggressive line was just a precaution in case you woke up and either were not yourself or had ill intent. But I certainly, Siki, do not believe that that's the case.
I don't believe so either. I suppose I'll let you know if it's something different.
Okay.
Okay. So...
I don't know what else to do tonight other than to find maybe a more secure... I've never had to think about having a secure room in the inn before. I can make up a bed in one of the storerooms down here. They don't have access. They don't have windows, and there's several doors in between.
Either that, or if you have a wine cellar, or honestly, even someplace in the stable, I'm sure the animals would be loud enough to give me a warning.
No, we won't need to put you in the stable. I do have a cellar that could make you a bed in.
Okay. Can I look around? Is his cat still in the inn?
Make a perception check.
Okay. 9.
Again. You look around and you see signs of the cat. You see a little food dish that's been left out and a couple bits of hair that have shed off, but you don't see the cat itself at the moment.
So I'm just going to kind of look around. If you see your cat, maybe I should take it with me, and it could sort of give me a warning in case something happens.
Yes, I'll look for him. He should be around here
Okay.
somewhere. Darn thing.
Can I look under the table and things like that, see if I see him?
Yeah, you look around and he does. Whatever the cat is doesn't appear to be in this main room at the moment. After checking under the bar and under the tables and whatnot. So the innkeeper makes up a bed for you in the cellar, where dry goods and ales and wines are stored. And you hear a knock on the door about 15 minutes later. and you hear his voice. Miss Sikya,
Yes?
I found Mr. Boots. If you'd like him
Mr.
still.
Boots? Is that his
Yes,
name?
Yes, the cursed cat's name is Mr. Boots. It was not my idea. And he kind of, may I? And he kind of jiggles the door handle.
Oh, certainly.
He kind of cracks it open a little bit and almost like unceremoniously tosses the cat in. He's like, all right, there you go. Just warn her if there's anything coming, I guess. I don't know if it understands me.
I'm like holding the cat away from me like kids who aren't used to babies. And I'm just like looking at it. I'm like, I am going to set you down now. Please do not hurt me with your claws. Okay? Tiny Tabaxi? Can I?
meows
And
at
I
you a
like
little
try
bit,
to like
just,
pet it. Like try to pet its back. Oh, so soft. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I did not mean to offend. Here. I'm just gonna like set it down.
Have you never seen a cat before?
I've not seen one this size before. Let's put it that way.
But it's a house cat. It's fairly harmless. You might get a scratch or two every once in a while, but...
House cat? Do they come in different kinds?
Different colors and sizes, I suppose. I don't know, it's just the cat.
The only tabaxi I have ever known love to be outdoors, but do not like to be wet.
Mr. Boots doesn't like to be wet either.
Must be a tabaxi thing.
Must be. Good night, Sikya.
Good night. I close the
closes
door
the door.
and I guess lock it behind me. Or behind
Okay.
him.
The rest of the night goes by quietly. Every once in a while, the scratch or purr or meow of Mr. Boots as he's kind of putzing around the room. But other than that, no noise disturbs you. And you wake to a knock on the door sometime later. And you hear the innkeeper's voice again. Miss Sikya, I'm sorry to disturb you, but it's gotten quite late.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, here. And I get up and unlock the door, open it up.
And you see he's dressed in his apron and everything. He's got his sleeves rolled up, sweat a little bit on his brow. He's like, yes, sorry, it's actually coming close to noontime, and I need to get some things for the lunch crowd.
Oh, certainly. Yes, sorry. I guess I am in your storeroom.
It's very dark out here. You would not have even known the sun had come up. I don't blame you for sleeping late, but excuse me. And he kind of pushes past you and begins grabbing things off the shelf to head back upstairs with.
While he's grabbing stuff, I'm just going to be like, so did you ever hear anything from the stone people?
I did not. I don't know how long it would take them to reply either, so I guess for now, I mean, you're welcome to stay here until we hear something, I suppose.
All right. Maybe it's best that I stay out of sight today. You know.
Well, everyone up currently in the main room are folks that I know from town, so none of them would be an assassin. So if you want to come up and have a bite to eat, you're more than welcome.
I know you probably know all your clientele very well, but you know, from someone who's been in the business, so to speak, somebody had to have known I was here. So maybe it's best that we give people a story that isn't quite true.
Oh.
I would suggest letting them know I was injured, but also telling them that I'm upstairs. And if you have somebody who can post a watch and keep an eye on the stairs and see who's trying to get into the room, just as a precaution.
Certainly. Yes, I'll see what I can do. Yeah, I'm sure I can find someone I trust to keep an eye on things. Yes, of course.
Okay. Thank you. I'll stay in the back, and kind of out of sight. But I will probably...
Are you going to stay down here, or...
If I come up, will anybody in the main room see me, or does it come up into the kitchen?
I could get you into the kitchen. Yes, that shouldn't be too hard.
Okay. I'd rather stay in the kitchen and just kind of keep an eye on what's going on.
Makes sense. Yes, follow me. And go ahead and roll a stealth check as you try to sneak up past the main doorway into the kitchen. And Mr. Innkeeper will make one as well.
+0 to my stealth. It was 8, but could I roll with advantage if I grab like a sack or something off one of the racks and try to wrap like a cloak to try to wrap it around me?
Not for the stealth itself, because this is whether or not anyone sees you going in there, not what they see. Okay. But go ahead and make a performance check. Just to act like someone else with a cloak over.
Nope, 7.
A 7? Okay. And the Innkeeper rolled a natural 3. So, as the two of you try to make your way up, neither of you are very good at this, or accustomed to this. And so you end up kind of bumping into each other a bit, and he's not used to, your width with your shell and everything, so he tries to sneak by you and ends up knocking some stuff on the ground and then having to pick it up, and you kind of he shoves you almost into the kitchen. But there's definitely a few moments there where you're both kind of in the spot where if someone was looking, they could have seen you. Though what exactly they saw or whatnot, you're not sure.
Okay. I don't think anybody saw us. That was so flawless.
I don't think so either. It's very busy out there. I don't think they were paying any attention.
It was so good. So good. I'm going to keep this sack, by the way.
Oh, certainly. What's mine is yours.
I still have it, wrapped around me.
Okay. So yeah, how long... What do? Do you hang out in the kitchen for the day, or...?
Not the whole day, but I kind of want to hang out for a little while. I'm guessing that you can see the main dining room from the kitchen.
You can, by peeking out a little bit. Again, there's a little bit of a line of sight that someone might see you, but you can, yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to take a small, either a small piece of the counter or grab a small cocktail table or a workstation or something. I'm just gonna pull it over and pull all my books out of my backpack and start looking through my books again while I'm kind of keeping an eye on the dining room.
Okay. I would say go ahead... well, first of all, what are you looking for in the books, specifically?
I'm looking for anything that has that symbol that I saw on the piece of paper,
okay.
And anything about the Emerald Council,
okay.
Or... who else? Floros, I guess.
Yep.
The place on the map, the tower or whatever.
Yep.
I kind of want to look for those.
Okay. Go ahead and roll either an investigation or history check.
Let's try history. It's not 9, it's 10.
Oh no. I'll go ahead and give you... It's not advantage per se, but I'll give you another roll because you can spend a good amount of time here. So the first kind of hour goes by, and with a 10, you don't find anything specifically. You find a little bit of information about Floros, but it's just general kind of, not touristy, but old history information. There's nothing that mentions a Black Tower. More just about the founding of the province of Estemark, and the establishment of Floros as a major trading post upon the eastern coast of Alson.
Okay.
But go ahead and give another check. I'll say
check?
This time it's investigation to try again.
Okay.
Was it a natural
It's-
one?
It's like the gods hate me. You're going in the bad thing too. All right, we got 5 here.
Okay. Well, with a 5 total, you actually spend the next 2
No,
hours.
it was 2 total. I only have a
2
1 for
total.
investigation.
You actually spend the next
No, I
2
have-
hours with your head just buried in the books and kind of come to when someone shoves some food, like a plate of food and drink, in kind of your eye line. And you see the sister kind of be like, you've been going at it for quite a while there. Would you like something to eat?
Oh, yes, thank you so much.
Did you find
gonna
anything
start-
interesting?
Not unless you find shipping ports interesting.
Not particularly. Brother handles all the import and export of our goods and needs.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Okay, well, if you need anything, let me know.
Could I ask you a quick question?
Oh, of course.
Can I pull out the piece of paper that has the symbol on it?
Yes.
Have you ever seen this before?
She takes a look at it. Is it from a game board? Dragon chess, I believe.
Is it a dragon chess piece?
It could be. It seems to be roughly the same shape as a chess piece.
Do you know which piece it is?
It's been so long since I've played. It's that one that's the castle-y one. I think the rook, they call it.
Rook.
Though rook is a bird, so I don't know why they call it that if it's a castle. Just call it the tower. She kind of shrugs and let me know if you need anything else, and kind of walks off.
Thank you. You said I didn't find any sort of tower-looking thing on the map
Nope.
with my awesome
Unfortunately, no.
rolls.
With your 10
I'm
and your natural 1.
Because I'm such a good scholar. It's the only thing I'm good at, and I'm really not. Sikya is...
She's very distracted in the moment.
She's fun. Okay.
You're interrupted again by the innkeeper kind of poking his head in, and he's got a worried expression on his face. He says, Miss Sikya, there's... I don't know if it's anything, but there's someone new in the inn today. Just came in and sat down, and it's not completely uncommon. We're very close to their borders, but it's not terribly run-of-the-mill either. He seems to be elven. I don't know what to do.
Well, don't look like you're coming back here talking to somebody.
Oh, and he's like halfway through the door talking to you. And he kind of like steps all the way in and lets it close behind him. Sorry, of course, yes.
We need to work on your sneaky skills. Can I like?
This is not what I do. I'm afraid.
Can I like peek out through the little, I guess, window or like the window in the door?
Yep.
Type of
Go
thing.
ahead
Do
and
I
make
recognize who this is?
We'll make a perception check.
Let's try a new D20. It was almost going to be a 16. Now it is 12.
12? Okay. With a 12, you do look out and see a tall figure sitting at one of the tables. Has a hood up, so you can't see the entirety of his face, but the hood itself, like the cloak he's wearing, is like this fine blue fabric, kind of like this heavy fabric. And you don't get like a great look at this person's face, but you do see kind of like long, angular features, just kind of very delicate, kind of jaw and nose kind of peeking out from underneath.
I don't know who it is.
With what you see, you don't recognize this person, no.
Okay. Is there any sort of, like, cloak in the kitchen?
No, there are aprons, and there are sacks, but no cloaks.
Okay. Or like a coat or something. I just want something to, like, kind of hide my shell.
Yeah, so there is a coat rack, but it's out in the main room, next to the door. So there's nothing in the room right now that kind of fits that description.
Okay.
And it's hot in here, so no one's wearing one. Most people have like their sleeves all the way rolled up because there's fires going with all the stews they're cooking and whatnot.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna grab an apron. I'm assuming it says something like "kiss the cook" or something.
It does not say "kiss the cook." No.
It has like a green tree on it or something.
They are unbranded. There's not like license and merchandising for the Inn at the Edge of Greenwood. It's just a plain brown apron.
I don't know. He's been here a while. Maybe he's bored. I don't know.
He's like, I should think about that. I should start monogramming things.
You should put your name on it.
I should.
That'd be so helpful.
Need name recognition.
Yes. All right, so I'm gonna put it on, like tie it as best I can, and like, I guess like grab a tray and a cloth and kind of go out and sort of like be wiping down the tables like around this person and like kind of just not being obvious about it, but just kind of seeing if they're looking my way, if they're looking around, are they waiting for somebody?
You get to the table next to them, and as soon as you kind of get within their eye line, the chair scoots backwards, and they stand to full height, well over 6 foot tall, and the hood back, and now you see with head shaven and long pointed ears, similar to that same elf you saw outside the tower before. You see an elf man standing before you, and he turns and looks at you and says, Sikya.
Yes?
It would do you well to follow me. And he turns and begins walking towards the door. What's that?
The elf I saw outside the tower before.
You saw your very first elf outside the Black Tower before going in. He was one of the 2 guards. So you recognize elven features, but this is not the same elf.
Oh, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
Okay. So not the same one.
No. And he begins walking towards the door.
Okay, hold on. And I'm gonna run back in the kitchen and grab my bag, because I'm assuming I left it there with all my books and stuff. I'm gonna keep the apron on because I'm in a hurry and I haven't taken it off. And I'm just gonna run after him. Okay.
As you run out, you hear the innkeeper kind of calling after you. Miss Sikya, where are you?
I guess I'll run back to him and just be like, I think he's from where I was before, so, if I don't come back in a few hours, come find me, I guess. I'm not sure.
Where should I look? Where are you going?
Do you remember how to do the wires? How to do that?
I do, yes.
Okay. I hand him an extra wire. And be like, if I don't come back in a few hours, use this to talk to me, okay?
I will do my very best. I haven't studied this one very much yet, but I will try.
It's all right. Twist, twist, pull, talk.
Twist, twist, pull, talk. Very well.
You've got this. And I pat him on the back and then
be safe.
Go to try to catch up. Thank you.
Okay. The elf man has not stopped walking. He's not running or anything, but he has a long stride, and he's already gotten a little ways out the door and down the way as you've been having this conversation. You catch up with him and fall in step, and he does not turn to address you or anything. He just keeps walking.
I'm going to explain how or why you showed up at the inn with no explanation.
I am merely here to guide you to the one you must speak with.
Are you part of the Observant then?
We know of, and we could say ally ourselves with the Observant, but we, in the Elven Kingdoms, would not consider ourselves part of this group.
Okay. Can you tell me who you're taking me to meet?
I am taking you to the one that you must speak with.
Okay. Carry on, I guess.
And at this point, you've just about reached the tree line for this large pine forest. And as you reach the tree line, he stops and turns and gestures a long arm and points towards it and says, "Path must be taken by only you." And he kind of folds his arms together and gives a slight bow.
I guess I'll try to do the same. I'm gonna take off my apron and put it in my bag. And I guess start walking down the path.
Okay. Make a survival check for me.
$19!
19, okay. There's no path per se, at least not
Okay.
immediately, but you begin to pick your way through the forest, kind of in the direction that he gestured. And the odd thing is that you don't feel like you've been walking for more than maybe 30 seconds. But when you turn and look over your shoulder, all you see is endless forest behind you. You don't see the tree line, you don't see the elven gentleman or the inn out in the clearing.
Okay. I turn forward. Does anything look different about the direction I'm going?
Nope, it looks the same as what you had seen before you kind of turned your head.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna cautiously keep walking forward.
Okay. You walk for a while, maybe 20, 25 minutes, picking your way through the forest, which is quiet and calm. It's not desolate. There's definitely, birds that flitter by, or you hear the crinkle of small animals in the underbrush. And then you start to hear the sound of metal, almost like clanking, and the crackle of a fire coming from up ahead and just a little bit to your right.
Siki's not very good about being sneaky, but she's gonna try to somewhat quietly come up the path.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a stealth check.
Nat 20.
Natural 20, okay. Incredibly quiet. You make your way forward, enjoying being part of nature and life and not just out in the desolate, broken ground anymore. And you find soft places for your feet to land and remain quiet. Until you get to a very small clearing, only a few trees kind of wide. And you see in the middle a small campfire, a couple, like a bedroll and some supplies kind of placed around. And you see all over the campfire, there's a little spit with hanging, a little bucket that has some steam coming out of it. Someone's cooking something. And the metal sound you heard was kind of a clanking sound as you see two figures with their around the fire. One is facing towards you, and you see another elf, a tall woman with very dark skin and very long dark hair. And then you see the back of someone's head, someone who stands a little taller than a halfling, but not quite as tall as a human, with dark hair and kind of like a yellow coat on. And that person is stirring at things as well and poking and kind of moving about, but has their back to you.
Okay. Do they seem aggressive at all? They're just sort of cooking around a campfire?
Roll an insight check.
18.
18? They actually seem very friendly. Their voices are low, but they're talking back and forth, and you hear a chuckle at one point and kind of pointing back and forth at things. You do catch a glimpse of the shorter person's, just the side of their face a little bit. They have white skin and a black beard that comes down very full.
Okay. Just gonna take a chance. Just be like, hello?
The tall elven woman doesn't look up, and you just hear the voice come from the shorter man, who just says, Sikya, you found us. Come on in. Come by the fire. Roll a history check for me.
12.
For 12. There's something... It's hard to place, but you feel like you recognize the voice.
Yeah, so she's gonna kind of come around the campfire, like come around the back of him so she can see the front of him.
As you come around and start to get a glimpse of his face, you're shocked that you didn't recognize the coat and the beard and the voice earlier, because you see there cooking in this clearing your old mentor, Onan Redbranch, the dwarven man who took you under his wing as a young child and taught you your first magics.
So as I come around the corner and see that it's him, I'm gonna be like, Onan! And I kind of like run over as if to give him a hug, and then kind of like stop and like whatever gesture we do, like, you know, do like a little half bow.
He replies with the same, and then throws his arms open. He's like, "Come on, CK."
And I like kind of like pick him up a little bit.
Oh, you've gotten bigger since last I saw you.
Oh,
Oof.
yes. Yeah, oh, yes, quite a lot bigger.
A whole head taller, I would imagine. You're taller than I
least.
am now.
Well,
Doesn't take much, right?
you said it, not me. What are you doing out in the middle of the woods?
That's a story and a half. One we probably won't have time to get into today, but I'm glad that I was nearby when I got the message from the Innkeeper and was able to be here to be the one to greet you. He kind of gestures towards the elven woman. This is Tikal. She's my partner in crime, you could say.
I give her the bow.
And she smiles and doesn't say anything. Just kind of gives you a nod. Goes back to stirring. Oh, Sikya, it has been many years and many journeys, it seems, since I saw you last.
It has been a long time.
How are you?
Well, I've been better. Do you have any idea why assassins would be sent after me in the middle of nowhere?
Very much so, unfortunately. Have a seat, have some stew, we'll talk.
Okay.
And he sits down and Tikal spoons out some little cups for you. You begin eating what seems to taste like a rabbit stew with some vegetables in it. It's good.
Okay.
He takes a couple bites, and then Onan sits back and goes, "Well, where to begin? So you've heard of the Observant by now, I would imagine."
Yes.
Right, so that, one could call it my organization. I wouldn't say I'm the only one who heads it up, but do a lot of the shot calling, you could say, amongst the group. And I have had my eye on things for a while, me and a few others. How much do you know about what's happening at the towers?
I'm afraid too little. I have a message from Hyde. He said that
Which one's Hyde?
the Tabaxi.
Okay, yes, we didn't know his name. We knew Cricket seemed to know the half orc, but we weren't sure who the Tabaxi was.
Yes.
So Hyde, good to know.
Hyde of Beast. Yes.
Hyde of Beast.
Yes.
Oh, he's from the jungles then.
Yes.
Interesting.
Okay. He said that there was another tower in Floros
Yes.
holding back Stith, and he said that something about one of the towers had fallen.
At this point, 4 of them have.
4?
Yes, so your friend Erevan
Yes.
and his little group, they have stumbled across an old lore that the dwarves put in place barriers to protect the planes of existence from overlapping in these kind of hostile lands. There were 5 towers set up, each with, shall we say, magical properties or beacons or points where the magic within them held the planes at bay. Obviously, it's not perfect. There's still crossovers and whatnot, but they kept things relatively safe. 2 years ago, Erevan and the Emerald Council broke the first of the 5 barriers in a tower down in the jungles of Eachton. Since then, in the 2 years since, they broke 3 more. 2 more, I'm sorry, 2 more. One up here in the Elven Kingdoms, fairly recently. One down along the southeast of the kingdom. There's one in Floros, and there was one on an island out in the Forgotten Sea. We weren't sure whether or not it was still on the island or if it had been submerged with time. And that's where Cricket took his half-orc friend and your friend Hyde out to see if they could get to that tower first and stop things. And, well, the reports we got back are that they were relatively unsuccessful. Apparently they came away with some sort of gemstone that might be useful, but the boundary that tower was holding closed broke. And now, the Floros Tower is the last one that we know is not yet collapsed.
Wow. That's pretty serious things.
Very.
Sorry, but don't you have very experienced magic users to deal with this? I mean,
Well, that's the problem, is that while the Observant, and obviously you know me, are not against the use of magic, the point of us existing is to keep an eye on users of magic, to make sure that power balance doesn't become too imbalanced. The most powerful mages in the kingdom are either part of the Emerald Council or under the king's thumb, and honestly, at this point, the king thinks we're just a conspiracy theory. We've tried sending emissaries there to let him know the seriousness of the issue, to perhaps employ upon the Knights of Excessa to help, or even the Paladins of Saints Preserve, but he will not listen. He thinks it's fairy tales. So we are what we have. We are spies and assassins ourselves, and people just trying to stop the world from collapsing. couple monster hunters thrown in the group as well, it seems.
I was going to say, forgive me for asking, but it doesn't seem like there's a monster that needs to be hunted.
The monster at this point is the council.
Wouldn't you need spies or assassins to deal with that?
We have those. And Cricket and your friends and some others, some allies from a different organization, are going to be meeting up in Floros and trying to stop the fall of that last tower. We know the council is headed there as well. Has been trying to break the enchantments there for some time, actually, and has been unsuccessful yet. So there is a group headed there, but if they fail, I honestly don't know what the next step is.
Forgive me for asking, but the last thing that I remembered before ending up here was that we were at the first tower. We were in the jungles. And we ran across...
there?
Yes, we ran across the Emerald Council.
He, scoots a little closer, and he's like, what do you know? What did you see? What information do you have?
I mean, it's not going to help you now, apparently, but there was a lot of people in hoods, and they were doing some sort of ritual, and we sort of barged in, and Erevan pushed us through some kind of mirror, and somehow 2 years went by. I don't know how that could be.
When we found you, when our operatives found you, you were in an old, abandoned dwarven temple. The 3 of you. 4 of you, I guess, if you include that big beast, which apparently is part of your group.
Luna, I guess.
Oh, pretty name. Cricket knew Gamorg, I believe his name is, the half-orc.
Yes.
And petitioned for him to be sent with him, and took Hyde as well. And when I heard word of a Tortle, I wasn't entirely sure it was you, but I asked that you be sent up here. I tend to do more of my work up here in the north, and I wanted to be close for whenever you came to. That was a few weeks ago. I don't know what happened to you in those 2 years, whether you were just under enchantment and asleep. But I do know that that's gone. He points up towards your forehead.
Yes.
Yeah.
About that. Was it gone when you found me?
It was. They said, I asked them, did the turtle have a red gem in her forehead? And they said no, there was a bit of a scar. Which, meeting you now, well, that realizes my fear.
What is that?
Part of the magic, as we understand it, that is working in these towers is a suppression of magical abilities. A magical field that stops magic itself and keeps the planes from breaking through in some of these ley lines. Your gem, on a very, very much smaller scale, is of the same properties as what we believe is in these towers. Red magical gems, rubies of sorts, that keep magic at bay. And if they have yours, they're just collecting more of these and perhaps, I don't know, trying to supplement or create their own, or if nothing else, they have a magical item now that we don't want them using against us.
I mean, I'm not entirely sure how I got my gem. It was handed down through my family.
Is that what your dad told you?
Yes. That's not true.
Well, if you remember, were you told about being sick as a child?
Yes.
And they took you to the temple.
Yes.
And the priest there put a gem on you that help stop the sickness.
I believe so, yes.
Sickness is a poor, crass term for what you have, Sikya. It's not a sickness. It's a
Can
connection.
I look at my hands and feet and everything? Be like, I don't. What am I connected to? And can I try to do? Look at my cantrips. Can I try to do like a sacred flame?
Mm-hmm.
Does it work?
Yeah, it ignites perfectly. Yeah.
Okay, so that, and I kind of undo it, shouldn't happen. My magic came from my gem. That's how
No.
I cast my spells.
I taught you how to use the gem in your head as a focus point, but that's not where the magic comes from. The magic comes from your connection. Sikya, have you ever wondered why the gods have been silent for this long?
Often, yes.
I don't have all the answers, but they haven't been completely silent for 1,000 years. They've just been selective with who they talk to.
Okay.
And he kind of motions over to call, and she kind of leans back a little bit, and you see her pull her sleeves back, and you see these glowing orange runes going up her skin, and they kind of flash a little bit, and then she pulls her sleeves back down. He's like, there are those who are born, like to call here, with an inexplicable connection to other worlds, to the voice of the gods, even, as they describe it. When you were young, you talked to things that weren't there. You played with friends that didn't exist, and while this could have been very much considered a normal part of any childhood growing up, imaginary friends, when your friends began bringing you things that they should not have been able to, that you should not have been able to, it made your parents worried, and then the runes started manifesting, similar to Takal there. And that's when they brought you to the temple.
This is a lot to take in.
I know.
Do I have a brother?
You
Or
do.
is Tiki one of the friends?
No. With my own eyes, I have seen your father and your mother and Tiki.
But you have the magic too.
I do not. I have magic. I have connection through worship of some sorts, through arcane study as well, but I am not like Takal and you.
She's very confused. I'm not like to call either. I like look at my arm. I don't have runes. Whatever power you think that I have, I fear that you're mistaken.
Sikya, you spent decades of your life with a magical implant that stopped your abilities from manifesting. I doubt a couple days after it, waking up and finding it gone, you're going to be able to tap into all of that.
Okay.
But I want to be very clear here, Sikya. This connection to whether it's the gods or another plane or some sort of pure force of magic, this is not... You don't have to choose this. If you choose it, from what I've seen of Tikal and the handful of others, it is a path that is irreversible. But fate is not something that we are born into, or something that is chosen for us. Fate is something that we choose for ourselves. And if this is a path you choose, it will be because you chose it, and not because I did, or anyone else. I don't know what it all means, but I do know that your connection gives you something very few of us have. A chance to witness, perhaps in truth, the God's power.
Okay. What do you mean choose? I choose this.
Without the gem, your abilities will begin to manifest. And if that's something that you want, and something you choose, this connection, Tikal here might be able to even, shall we say, expedite that process. But if you would rather just be Sikya Thonplay, the Total Arcana Cleric Monster Hunter, who has done so much good for this world and can do so much more, we can find a way to keep things from changing, to suppress it again. It was done once before, we can do it again. That's your choice.
If I'm understanding correctly, it sounds as though my parents knew that this thing was inside me, and at the time didn't know what to do with it?
They knew you were different, and they didn't... They were afraid of that. They loved you with all of their hearts. But they didn't know what this was. Honestly, Sikya, I didn't know what this was fully until several years after we parted, through my own studies. That's why I tried to keep an eye on you afterwards, but even when I was training you, I was not 100% certain that this is why the gem was in your head.
I mean, it sounds as if you need all the help you can get with trying to stop this council.
We do, but this is not me twisting your arm, I hope, and making you choose something that you don't want for the sake of the greater good. This is irreversible. At some point down the line, the gem wouldn't have worked on you. They caught it while you were very young and were able to suppress it, but it won't work that way if you embrace it. This will be who you are. And I can't make that choice for you.
I guess that's what I'm wondering. Well, since it's been a part of me all along, will this change any of who I am at the very core of my being?
I don't know. I've never known Tikal before her runes manifested. Though I think she's a pretty good egg. And she kind of gives a smirk. I don't know. There's so many things I don't know. We study and we learn and we dive deep into knowledge, but it's a vast, vast multiverse.
Can you give me a moment to to think this over.
Of course. You can have as much time as you need.
Is there anything around the campfire?
Terrain or items? What exactly are you asking for?
Like, yeah, I guess terrain. Is it just woods and then this little campfire in the middle?
It seems to just kind of be forest. It's not just like flat open. It's like, there's some, hills and whatnot, but it seems to be mostly just forest in all directions.
She's gonna go like a little ways away, not like into the woods type of thing, but just a little bit away from the campfire to get some privacy. She's gonna light a little incense that she has, and sort of set it down in a log. Kind of do her cross-legged pose, and then close her eyes, and she's going to try to talk to Enor.
Okay. Roll a religion check for me.
Religion.
And in this moment, with the fervor of your prayer, go ahead and roll it with advantage.
Ooh. Okay. 21.
21. Okay. What is it that you say?
She's just sort of thinking it. But she's thinking, hi, Enor. It's Sikya. I know the gods don't really talk to us. But that doesn't mean that we don't talk to them. And I feel like maybe you've been trying to communicate with me all these years, and I haven't been listening or haven't been able to listen. I wanted to serve you because I wanted to do good in the world. I wanted to let everybody expand their knowledge of, well, everything. I love learning about all the terrain and the animals and all the different religions. Is this the right path to take to, I don't even know what you'd call it, to accept this part of myself that's always been there?
You think these thoughts? Your eyes close tightly, praying, and then they open with with the hearing of a sound. And you look up and you see this little fox who is going to come out of the forest and is now standing maybe 5-7 feet away from you, in front of you, just kind of looking at you.
I kind of look back at it, kind of cock my head a little bit.
It kind of pads a couple feet closer, looks at you again. Hears something, turns, looks both ways, and kind of looks back at you, and then trots right up to you, right up next to you.
Kind of reach out a little bit, try to touch it.
It kind of
Its
leans
eyes.
into it and lets you stroke up the middle of its head. And then it kind of pulls back and it cocks its head and almost looks at you with one eye kind of out of the side. And the tail just goes and then it and runs into the forest.
Okay. I kind of wait for the incense to go down a little bit, and then kind of put it in my bag and go back to the campfire.
Odin stands as he sees you coming. Well?
I think this is what Enor would want. I think this is what I want too.
I can't speak for the god of knowledge and wisdom and justice, but for my part, that second want, that's the one that I care about. Is this what you want?
I think so.
You know, there's no turning back.
What else do we do when the world's ending?
Well, we drink quite a bit.
Well, yes.
But, yes. All right. And he kind of steps to the side, and Takal has risen and comes forward, and she pulls her sleeves back, and you see those glowing orange runes up the inner arms. And she just places a hand on your shoulder and then slides it so it's kind of like cupping the back of your neck ever so gently, and she just smiles, this really gentle, calming smile. And she looks in your eyes with her large elven ones that have no whites, just pure iris. But in that moment, you just feel the warmth of her touch. And then her other finger comes forward and presses against your forehead. And there is a whooshing sound and a light that bursts into your eyes and a blind searing of pain that hits your forehead and travels down your face into your neck and just racks your entire body. It feels like someone took a brand and stamped it right on your head. And it hurts so bad. And your knees buckle, and you feel her hand tighten and grab the back of your neck and hold you up in that moment as her finger presses. And then as sudden as the pain came, it's gone. And you kind of blink and you see stars for a minute in your eyes. And then you look and she steps away from you, and Onan is kind of looking with wide eyes, and oh, that's something to see. How do you feel?
A little lightheaded.
Call, do you have? And she's already going into a bag, and she pulls out a little looking glass and hands it to you.
Okay. I kind of hold it up and look at it.
As you look at your reflection, where once there was a red gem inset into your forehead, there is now a glowing blue rune carved, as if the skin itself had opened to allow this glow to come through. Around your eyes, in beautiful patterns, are glowing trails of color that frame your eyes around your face. And your eyes themselves have gone from a black and brown to a glowing, bright blue, tealish color that you almost cast like a small amount of light around your own face. As you look around, your vision seems undisturbed. You don't see things through a tint, but as you look in the mirror, you see pure radiant energy emanating from you. You now have the benefit of the Lifewell rune. You have permanent resistance to necrotic damage, so you take half of all necrotic damage you're dealt. And once per day, when you are reduced to 0 hit points, you come back up to 1 hit point instead.
Okay. Sorry, I'm writing it down.
Yeah. Onan kind of looks at you and smiles, and do you feel all right? Here, have some water, and he kind of hands you a skin.
Oh, yes, thank you. I drink some of it.
Well, I didn't really have a whole lot planned for other than that.
Well, do you have somewhere to get off to?
Well, yes, we're headed towards one of the towers. We're gonna do what we can to retake the one up in the Elven Kingdoms. You could come with us, or you could go try to meet your friends in Floros. It's a ways. I don't know if you'd make it there in time, but it's your decision.
Sorry, aren't you going to Floros?
No, we've sent Cricket and your friends, and they're meeting an operative from a different but kind of aligned organization that's going to be helping them try to take that tower. Takal and I are headed up to the one in the Elven Kingdoms.
I'd really like to catch up with you, but I also need to see if my friends need any help.
No, I understand. You're a unit. It's important that you stay together. I'm sorry that I separated you.
Yes. It's all right. It seems like it all worked out. I hope I see you again soon.
I hope so too, Sikya. If I don't, I'm glad to have known you.
You as well.
He kind of... Great, okay. Takal, and you look over, and Takal has been sketching in the ground different runes and geometric patterns in a circular shape. And she almost completes the last one, and then kind of motions for you to step within with a hand. And he's like, Takal can send you fairly close to Floros.
Oh, yes. Yeah, let's do that.
Right. When you're
you,
ready,
Ronan.
just step in there. Do you need anything? Do you need weapons or provisions or armor or anything?
What do I have? Do I have armor?
You don't, but you don't wear armor as a turtle.
I was gonna say, I don't think I really...
You have a shield and your warhammer.
I do have my warhammer. Okay, that's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, does the warhammer have the gem in it still?
The warhammer still has its red gem.
Okay.
That one is passed down through the family, and you get the idea that, like, you had matching gems, but one was just an ordinary gem that is in the warhammer.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I pat the back of my shell and be like, oh, I've got all the armor I need.
It's pretty tough. I know. I've wrapped my knuckles against it a few times sparring with you.
That's right. Just give him a big hug.
Gives you a hug back. All right, you better get going.
Thank you. I kind of turn to call and sort of give her a little bow. Thank you.
She nods back. Nodin just says, "Don't you frickin' die on me."
I'll try not to.
All right. And he kind of gives you a playful push, like just a gentle shove to get you into the center of the teleportation circle.
Okay.
Takal's finger goes down, traces the last of the rune, and it all lights up this kind of like orange flashing glow. And orange light fills your vision, and you feel yourself pulled somewhere else, other than the Greenwood Forests.